On a frosty evening in 1975, the high street seemed to pulse with quiet magic. Through the yellow glow of a sweet shop window, glass jars lined the shelves like colorful treasure chests, pear drops, flying saucers, sherbet lemons sparkling beneath the lights. Step inside, and a little bell above the door tinkles its welcome, the warm air tinged with sugar and polished wood. The shopkeeper, apron dusted with icing sugar, greets you by name and already knows which penny sweets you'll ask for. Behind you, someone counts change into a child's mittened palm. There's laughter, soft conversation, and a sense of belonging you'd hardly notice until it's gone. But now, past the same spot, and the window is dark, the bell silent. The sign above the door peels in the rain, replaced by the sober blue of a betting shop or the blank stare of a boarded-up front. Once the heart of after-school ritual, now just another lost memory. How did we let so many familiar lights go out? Picture the high street in its prime, the 1960s and 70s, when every town and village pulsed with a rhythm all its own. Mornings began with the clatter of milk bottles and the comforting aroma of bread drifting from the bakery. Shop fronts dazzled with hand-painted signs, and you could stroll from butcher to newsagent to greengrocer, collecting bits for tea along the way. Each shop had its own soundtrack: the thud of a butcher's cleaver, the whir of the haberdasher's measuring tape, the gentle murmur of gossip traded across the counter. Every stop was a social moment, a ritual repeated week after week. You'd nod to Mrs. Green stocking tins in the corner shop, and Mr. Patel at the newsagent would slip the beano into your paper round. Children pressed faces to the window of the toy shop, dreaming. The high street was more than a place to buy things. It was a living thread connecting neighbors, families, and generations. Compare that to today. Many of those doors are locked, the windows dusty or covered with "to let" signs. Where once you'd find a dozen shops, now maybe a lone chain convenience store and a handful of empty units. It's easy to forget how different things once felt. Do you remember the fresh bread smell? The shopkeeper who knew your name? The small joys and quiet exchanges that gave shape to each day? When we lost those places, we lost something essential, a heartbeat you can't quite replace. There was a time when every high street was a tapestry of characters and colors, stitched together by the shops that shaped our days. Sweet shops, of course, were their own kind of paradise. Rows of glass jars behind the counter, all waiting for your careful selection and the magical rustle of a paper bag. You could get a 10p mix, blackjacks, fruit salads, cola bottles, enough to feel like a king on the way home from school. And the shopkeeper? She always seemed to know who preferred fudge and who'd rather risk a sour gobstopper. Next door, the hardware store was an Aladdin's cave for the practical and the dreamers alike. Squeaky floorboards, shelves stacked high with nails, screws, and gadgets whose names you never quite learned. Old Mr. Evans would let you buy on tick, a tab paid off when Dad got his wages. Did you know that tick comes from the old practice of keeping a tally, a literal tick mark behind the counter? There was trust in those small exchanges, and sometimes a gentle warning if you forgot to settle up. The greengrocer's display spilled out onto the pavement. Glossy apples, muddy carrots, and the earthy scent of fresh produce. It was more than shopping. It was a ritual, learning which tomatoes to squeeze and how to spot the best bunch of bananas. The toy shop, meanwhile, was where birthday dreams lived. Shelves of dinky cars, action men, and dolls, each one somehow more exciting for being just out of reach until a special occasion. And the haberdashery, what a word, was a treasure chest for every mum or gran, its ribbons, buttons, and bolts of fabric waiting to become wedding dresses, school uniforms, or a favorite scarf. Sometimes those creations outlasted the very shop itself. Today, the names have faded, and so have the stories. Supermarkets and online checkouts have replaced friendly banter and the pride of a personal recommendation. Shopping has become transactional, faceless, and quick. But back then, every errand carried its own story, and every shop was a stage where small memories were made. The difference is more than nostalgia. It's the soul of community, quietly slipping away. You won't believe how quickly everything shifted. In just a single decade, the high street that felt timeless began to vanish right before our eyes. The first big supermarket arrived, and almost overnight, the Saturday ritual changed. Suddenly, you could get your bread, your cheese, your soap, and your biscuits all in one place. Bright aisles, endless choice, and trolley wheels squeaking on shiny floors. It was efficient, yes, but something vital was quietly draining away. Retail parks sprouted on the edges of town, promising easy parking and everything under one roof. Old news clippings from the late 70s and early 80s show headlines full of hope. New shopping center brings jobs. But, tucked further down the page, quiet warnings about local closures and job losses. One shopkeeper, in an old interview, recalls, "It was like someone flipped a switch. One week we had queues out the door, and the next, people were driving to the new place by the bypass." It wasn't just convenience that changed things. Rents crept up, and policies from the Thatcher years encouraged new development while leaving smaller traders to fend for themselves. Shopping habits changed, too. People wanted glossy, uniform shops and weren't as loyal to familiar faces behind the counter. The thrill of a Christmas window display, moving figures and snowy scenes that drew whole families into the cold, slowly faded as chains replaced handmade magic with plastic decorations. Many don't realize how quickly the character of a town could be rewritten. All it took was a few empty shops, and suddenly the high street felt different. The heart of the community didn't just weaken, it began to disappear, swept away by the winds of change. What filled the gaps didn't feel quite the same. Sometimes it's the quiet things we miss most. The way Saturday mornings had their own steady rhythm, a procession from shop to shop, each errand a chance to chat or share a joke. There was trust in those small exchanges. A butcher who'd save your favorite cut, a grocer who'd slip a bruised apple into your bag for the kids. The high street was a patchwork of faces and stories, each one adding color and warmth to the week. Today, convenience is king. We can order anything with a tap, compare prices from 100 shops before breakfast, and fill our baskets in half the time. There's more choice, more speed, and yes, life is easier in many ways. But what have we traded for that ease? Do you remember the feeling when a shopkeeper greeted you by name? Or the pride of being trusted with tick? Or the hush and wonder of a Christmas window? The world outside fading in the glow of painted snow? We've gained so much in comfort and selection, yet lost the sense that shops could be part of who we are. Now, as the sun sets and you pass a silent, empty street, maybe the windows dark where your favorite sweet shop once glowed, it's hard not to feel something has slipped away for good. The loss isn't loud or obvious, but in the echo of our memories, it lingers still. Walk the high street now, and you'll find a different sort of silence. Shutters pulled down, once busy windows filled with faded posters or charity shop displays. A handful of survivors cling on, a cobbler here, a family-run cafe there, holding the memories of busier days. The old butcher's is a takeaway, the chemist's a vape shop. Yet there's a stubborn spirit in the bricks and pavements, a sense that stories still echo if you listen closely. These empty spaces and shifting shop fronts mirror not just economic change, but a shift in what we value: speed, novelty, convenience. Still, the urge to gather, to belong, never quite leaves us. Is the story truly over, or are we on the edge of a new chapter for Britain's high streets? In the end, what lingers isn't just the shops themselves, but the spirit they left behind. The laughter at the counter, the comfort of familiar faces, the feeling of being part of something shared. These memories are threads that connect us, even as the old high streets change or fade away. If you close your eyes, you can still hear the bell above the sweet shop door, or smell fresh bread carried on a cold morning breeze. Perhaps our new communities will be shaped in different ways, in local markets, pop-up shops, or even online spaces that bring neighbors together. The heart of the high street, after all, was never just bricks and mortar. It was people, stories, and a sense of belonging. So, what do you remember? Share your favorite lost shop or treasured moment in the comments. Our stories keep the best parts alive, ready to be rediscovered.